then backslash to kind of to get everything to take to fill in the timeline screen there. So under wrench, there's just another quick way if you want to be able to minimize or expand your tracks. You've probably noticed that snapping is on by default. So if I have my scrubber here and I want to line a clip up, it snaps right to it. If you ever find that to be distracting, you can turn that off by just clicking on the little icon over here. It looks like a, what do you call that? I can't think of it. I'm just going to turn that off, and now things won't snap just to my cursor, to my scrubber. I can sort of freeform, but most of the time you want to have that on. All right, let's talk about some other ways that you can do some edits. Right now, let's say I'm going to take my clips, and I don't really want this guy that doesn't have audio. I'm going to put these guys next to each other. And what we've talked about is if you want to swap these two, I move them up, move it down, move this guy up, move it down, and kind of like a Rubik's Cube, switch them over and bring them like that so that they don't overlap each other. That's kind of what we've been doing in the beginning. And that was because I really wanted you to see like what happens if you put the clips on top of each other, how it just essentially gets rid of my clip. See, that's gone now. Okay, I'm going to undo, do a bunch of undos here until I'm back to the way I had it. I'm just doing Control Z. So a couple of keyboard shortcuts that you can add to your repertoire of keyboard shortcuts. If I wanted to take this clip and insert it into here, I can click on it and hold the Control key down. And you see how I get the white arrows? And that means it's going to be an insert. Watch what happens when I let go. It pushed everything down. Let me just do that again. So I'm going to click on this, hold the Control key down, and I'm going to insert it in between those two. And now this is right over here. So I just did an insert. Which most of the time that works pretty well. But if I wanted to do a swap, let me show you the difference of why you might want to occasionally have a swap instead of an insert. I'm going to remove the audio from this clip. I'm going to unlink it because I want just the audio, and I'm going to extend this. So I have, oh, no, I guess that's all the audio that was there. I'm going to put the audio on this track. So imagine that I had like a music track playing with some audio here. And I'm going to do that insert again. So I'm holding Control key down, and I'm clicking and moving over and insert. And do you see how it pushed my audio down as well? Like it connected it with this one. And maybe that's fine, but if I had like a music track going down here, I may not want that. So instead, I'm going to do Control Alt, and that's going to be a swap, and I'm going to let go. And now it just swapped my clips, and it didn't affect the audio that was on the track below. So that can be really useful. So again, Control click is an insert, and that's going to just insert it and push everything down, including any audio tracks. But Control Alt will swap the two clips. So this clip is now going to end over here. If I get it in the right spot, that clip ended at the end. So it swapped the two of them, and it didn't affect any others. Let's see, a couple other keyboard edits that are useful to know. If I wanted to make some space here, probably the method that you guys would do is lasso, like click right outside and grab all those clips, which temporarily locks them, and drag them down the timeline, which certainly works. Undo. But I also wanted to point out you have a tool that's called the Track Select Forward tool. And if I have that tool selected and I click on this clip, for example, it selects everything forward down the timeline, and I can move everything down the timeline, not just what I had selected, but everything that came after that down on the timeline. And that can be useful as well. I think I'm going to switch back to my normal. I'm going to put some more things on the timeline just to make it even more obvious of what's going on here. So let's see. Grab some more clips. Just loading it up just so you can see lots of clips here. Okay, so again, I'm going to take my track select forward tool and I'm going to click on my third clip here, and it selects everything down the timeline, and I can move and they all stay together. And if I hold that down, if you don't have it as a like a double, if you can't see the other tool connected with it, there's a track select backward tool, and it does just exactly what you would expect. I click on this. Oh, I click on this one and it selects everything behind this clip. So now those guys are all temporarily locked. So that also can be really useful. In terms of if you have spaces here and you want to get rid of the space, so let's say I just decided to trim these clips. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So let's say I decided I want to trim this clip down and now I want this clip to be right here. Of course, I could just drag it down, but you could also right click into the space and say ripple delete, and it shrinks it up for you. So I hope you guys are kind of pausing this video and doing this along with your own clips. So I'll do that again. I'm going to shrink this one down and then right click and do ripple delete. Right click, ripple delete, and it gets rid of all of my spaces and it pushes everything that was on the rest of the timeline down. It's called a ripple. Let's see, a couple of other things that I'm not sure. I don't remember if we've talked about the razor tool. I feel like I've talked about this a lot with people individually, but let's say there was a section of your clip. Maybe there was someone making a sound, or there was just, you want to make your clip in half. How do you cut your clip just in half or cut out a section? There's the razor tool. I would take that and I could click right on it, and now my clip is 2. Or if there's a section I want to cut out, I'm going to make 2 razor cuts, go back to my normal selection tool, select that, and just hit delete on my keyboard and right click, ripple delete, and that gets rid of that. So the last thing that I'd like to go over in terms of editing is renaming your sequence. So you've noticed, we've talked about it before, that there's one clip here in your project that is not actually a clip, it's a sequence. And the sequence is the template for everything you have on the timeline. And it has this icon on it. And if you hover, it says sequence. Its default name is whatever the first name of your clip was. So when I go up to File, Export, Media, the default name that it wants to give my video, taking a long time for that window to open up, the default name it wants to give that video is whatever my sequence is called. Output name, House Outside. Okay, so that must be the first clip that I put onto my sequence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename my sequence. I'm going to right click on it and go to rename, and I'm going to call it continuity practice. Okay, and now when I go to File, Export, oh, I have to have my timeline selected. File, Export, Media. My default output name is now Continuity Practice. So it just saves you a step in terms of, you still have to click and say where you're going to name it, but I think it makes sense to name your sequence whatever you're actually going to call your video, your file. All right, so I'll be making some more videos with editing techniques, and let me know if you have requests for any particular techniques that we've covered so far that you'd like to have as a video.